All right, guys. So let me share my screen and we'll talk about DEA today. So I hope you have watched the lecture on DEA. So what is DEA?
Data
Am I audible?
environment analysis.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
So what are the questions we are answering in DEA? Number one, we have several inputs and several outputs, right? So when we have several inputs and outputs, how do we compute efficiency? That's the first thing we are looking at. Second thing, we see something called productive efficiency. All right, we see everything in detail. So when you have several economic units, how do you compare them? For example, let's take two batsmen, so cricket and Tendulkar. So they are two different batsmen. So how do you compare these two batsmen? They are having completely different types of games, right? How do you compare Tendulkar and Kohli? And finally, we have something called prescription. So if there is an inefficient business unit, how do you convert it to an efficient business unit? So all these things we are seeing in DEA. So before that, I spoke something about prescription. We'll see how this business analysis analytics course is designed. So in the first week, we started with visualization, right? And then after visualization, we went to distributions, some statistical techniques, right? And then we started with simple linear regression, multiple linear regression, and a bit of pricing, and so on. What was next? Logistic regression. And finally, you have DEA followed by conjoint. So these are some statistical concepts, and we have some data visualization, what chart to use, what chart not to use, and so on. We saw them in the first week and followed by distributions and so on. So here, these two lectures, SLR, MLR, pricing, and logistic regression, they spoke about predictive models. What are predictive models? What are predictive models? You predict occurrence of an event, or you predict a continuous variable, right? Regression, classification, and so on. You're predicting something, right? And when it comes to DEA, we are prescribing something. So these are predictive models, these are prescriptive models. You're going to tell if there is an inefficient business unit, how do you make it more efficient? Rather, you're giving some recommendation, you're giving a prescription to make something optimal. So therefore, this DEA conjoint, they will come under the umbrella of prescriptive analytics. Is it fine? You understand the structuring of business analytics course now?
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about DEA shortly. Let's cover the theory. So what is this productive efficiency?
So output by input?
Yeah. So
Weighted
productive,
output.
yes, weighted output by weighted input. All are good ones. But the actual definition goes on like this. There is an economic efficiency, and the part of this is productive efficiency. We are trying to maximize the output under given constraints. You have certain constraints. What are the constraints? It could be budget, it could be the target, and so on. We have a set of constraints. We are trying to maximize the output without worrying about the optimal allocation, right? And organizations that find themselves on the economic frontier are called efficient units. And the DMUs or the economic units that do not fall on the economic frontier are called inefficient economic units, and so on. Right? So, for example, we saw this example, a simple example here. You have input 1, input 2, right? Right. So these are the frontiers, right? These are efficient when it comes to input. Similarly, when it comes to output, right? These are the like frontiers, efficient frontiers. And if you want to complete the envelope, join the lines with the x-axis and y-axis and so on. So is it as simple
Sir,
as
I
this?
don't get it, sir. These are the efficient. Why you are saying these are the efficients?
Okay, let's look at it. So, what is efficiency?
Input by output by input.
Output by input. So if you want to improve the efficiency, or if you want to say something is efficient, output should be high and input should be
Low.
right. So here, this is input 1 and this is input 2. So if you look at this particular business unit, DMU 1, 2, and 3, they are consuming lesser inputs compared to 4 and 5.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
And similarly, that's the case with output A, B, C, D, and E. All right.
Got it.
So this is a simple graphical method. So the beauty here is this is not just input by output or output by input. So a gentleman was just telling me that it is weighted output by weighted input. So here, if you take a particular DMU, say 1, right? So let DMU 1 choose the weight of its inputs and outputs to maximize its efficiency. The DMU 1 is choosing its weight optimally so that its efficiency is maximized. So based on the weights of DMU 1, you will also assess 2, 3, 4, and 5, and if you can check, are they relatively efficient? That is what we are doing in DEA, right? We have certain constraints here. What are the constraints here? What are the constraints? The efficiency of DMUs cannot be greater than 1, right? And efficiency of, this is a particular DMU that you're interested, right? Even the other DMUs that you're assessing relatively, their efficiency cannot be greater than 1. This is a constraint, right? And we are talking about linear programming here. The moment you say linear programming, the objective function should be linear, the constraints should be linear, and so on and so forth. But what is our objective? Maximize efficiency. The moment you say maximize efficiency, you have a fraction or a ratio, output by input. So is this linear? Output by input, is this linear?
No.
The answer is no, because it's a ratio. Ratios are not linear in nature. So what you do, you normalize the denominator. You normalize this and you maximize the numerator. You maximize just the numerator and you give a constraint that the output. So this is the constraint. Output by input should be less than 1. Output should be less than or equal to input. So I'm just cross multiplying here. Here I say that we are linearizing a non-linear objective function, right? So maximize output by input. The new objective function is only maximize the output. And what is this input going to do? We are giving this output less than or equal to input as a constraint. That's all. And do not worry much about the linear programming formulation of DEA. It's not that simple. We are not going to give you formulate a linear programming problem for this particular setting where we have 5 business units. Give me the primal dual of linear programming. We are not going to do that. Don't worry. So whatever we covered so far is just for your understanding, right? That's all. And we'll cover certain things that are important for your exam point of view. For example, let's take an example. So there is a practice assignment. If you go to week 9, there is quiz here. Practice assignment 9, not graded. So this is a very, very interesting question. I'll zoom it a bit and we'll try to solve this together. Right? So for the benefit of everyone, let me read out this question. So there are 6 business units and there are 2 outputs and 1 input. So the moment you see a DEA problem, a numerical like this, first look at these things. How many inputs are there? How many outputs are there? Right? In this course, we have covered only 2 settings. 2 output, 1 input, 2 input, 1 output. So we have only covered 2 sets of DEA problems for you, right? So here, this is a special type of setting, 2 outputs and 1 input, right? And you're solving an optimization problem for a business unit. The next thing that you have to look at is for which particular business unit we are solving the problem. So there are 6 business units available, but we are interested in unit 3. And for this unit 3, the efficiency is only 0.7, right? The dual variables corresponding to this particular business unit are business units 4 and 5. The reason for this is their dual variables are non-zero, right? And the dual variables corresponding to the constraints of business unit 4 and 5 are 0.3 and 0.4. So you are given the following table where sales and numbers are 2 outputs, sales and number of leads. These are the 2 outputs. The question is, how do you compute the sales in HCU 3? Any idea how to compute this?
Yeah, 10,000 into 0.3 plus 8,000
Let me.
into 0.4.
So you mean to say 10,000 into
0.3
plus
8,000 into 0.4.
Can someone quickly compute and tell me? Let me go to Excel. Let us do so that everybody are in the same page. Okay. So you mean to say 10,000 into 0.3 plus 8,000 into 0.7. Is it correct?
0.4.
Is it correct? Sorry. Is this correct? Sorry, I think I'm making a mistake. 6,200 is this guy? .3 and 0.4. So 6,200. Can you verify, please?
So I think it should be normalized.
Yes. If you look at the answer here comes out to be 8856. The range is 8857 or something. So let's see how we normalize this. Do you know how to normalize this?
Yeah, sir. I missed that 0.3 divided by 0.7 and 0.4 divided by 0.7. Then I need to multiply and summation will be there.
Yes. Plus 8,000.
What is the formula? What is the formula we are using here? Can you mention here?
Sure. So the business unit 4 is having sales of 10,000. Business unit 5 is having sales of 8,000. If you look at this particular problem, you see business unit has 2 dual variables, non-zero dual variables. And what are those variables? Business units 4 and 5. You are calculating the economic efficiency of business unit 3. And when you go to solver, Excel solver, and run the sensitivity analysis, you are going to get non-zero dual values for business units 4 and 5. And they are 0.3 and 0.4. Right? In case you have 1 output and 2 input problems, generally these particular dual variables will add up to 1. Right? It will add up to 1. But here, if you add these dual variables 0.3 plus 0.4, it is not adding up to 1. It is coming to 0.7. So therefore, since they are not adding up to 1, I am dividing 0.3 by 0.7 plus 0.4 by 0.7. So now if you add these two, 0.3 by 0.7 into 0.4 plus 0.4 by 0.7, it comes to 1. I'm normalizing them.
So why
But
should
how
it be equal to 1?
but how it's 1 actually right now? It's not 1, right? As of now?
See, it's a simple
No, I
0.3,
understand. Yeah,
Mhm.
0.3 plus. Okay.
0.7. So,
Okay. Yeah, it will be 1. Yeah.
yes. All right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why we are doing this? What is the basic? Why
Got
you?
it. Sure. So I strongly recommend you to watch the videos again. But the idea here is, here we have 6 business units, right?
Hmm.
And we are going to calculate the efficiency of business unit 3. So we can say that our focus is on business unit 3. And the corresponding dual variables to business unit 3 are nothing but business 4 and 5 that are having non-zero dual variables. If you go to Excel and run a sensitivity analysis, business 4 and 5 will have a non-zero value. The other business units, 2, 1, maybe 6, and all these things, they are having zero dual variable. They will have 0 as their dual value. Only these 4 and 5 units, they are having a non-zero dual value. So for that, you are normalizing the denominator and then multiplying it with sales of business unit 4 and 5, and you get the answer. So I strongly, it's a long video, it's a 2-week long video. I strongly recommend you to watch those videos and you will get a better understanding of all these things.
Sure, sir.
Sure. And let's also do this. What is the number of leads for HCU3? How do you calculate that? Same. You just multiply
Yes.
10 into 3 by 7 and 12 into 4 by 7. Right? Let's quickly check it out. 10 into 4 by 7 plus 12 into 10 into 3 by 7, I guess. Well into 4 by 7. Right? If you take the sum, 11.14. Right? So 11.14 is within the range. Right? So this is the this kind of numericals you can expect. Imagine a case where you have 1 output and 2 inputs. So the moment you see this, take a look at the dual variables. Are they adding up to 1? If they add up to 1, you don't have to normalize them. Right? Directly multiply 0.3 into 10,000 and 0.4 into 8,000 and you get the answer. Right? Similarly, for number of leads, directly multiply 0.3 into if it is adding up to 1. So these two they don't add up to 1. Imagine you have 0.6 and 0.4. They are adding up to 1. Directly multiply that with the relative outputs and get the value for the number of sales in HCU3 and so on. All right. So that's all I had for today. It's a simple numerical. You can expect these kind of numericals, and these are some theory questions. Right? How many LPs you will solve if you have 5 different business units. For each economic unit, you are going to solve a separate LP, linear programming problem. Right? And these are all simple theoretical questions, and I've covered them, all the theoretical questions. What is a productive efficiency? Right? What are we prescribing here? Several inputs. How do you normalize? And how do you convert a non-linear programming into a linear programming problem? So these are all simple theory. So I've simplified this DA for you. Do not complicate this by looking at the linear programming formulations. I know it is slightly overwhelming, but the idea of this DEA is amazing. So tomorrow, if you want to do a bachelor project, bachelor thesis, right? Does your program have bachelor thesis? BSc thesis or BS thesis, something like that? Final project? Do you have something like that? Hello, am I audible?
No, we are not. I'm not aware of this thing.
Okay, okay. But you had projects for BDM, right? You did a project for BDM.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and you would have done a simple visualization, go collect data, do a pivot table, VLOOKUP, and so on. Right. So tomorrow, when you do an actual project, these kind of tools are very handy in companies, in corporates, as well as in academics. So DEA papers are getting published even today at a very, very high level. So the number of publications in DEA, you get good data, collect data, and then with that data, use this DEA, model it. We could make a good thesis out of it, good paper out of it. Any questions on DEA? Yeah, sure.
Sir, I have one question. Yeah, go ahead.
So before that, I forgot something called hypothetical composite unit. Yes, please tell your question, then we'll go there.
Yeah, so sir, in the practice assignment 2, there is a 4 efficiencies are given. Okay, which of these are efficient? Okay, so is it that I should take the top 2, or why I am not taking the E3 all the 4? Means
Which
why
one?
I
Which
taking
question?
because E3 is a one that I understand it is a maximum efficiency, but why I taken E2.98?
Which question are you talking about? Third one? This
Practice
one?
assessment second.
Second one, no? Okay. So there are 4 business units. You solve the LP for all 4 business unit and find efficiencies of these units. Okay. The efficiency is denoted by E. For these, E1 is 0.83, E2 is 0.98, E3 is 1, E4 is 0.91. Which of these units are efficient? So generally, if the efficiency is 1, these are highly efficient DMUs. Right? So these efficiencies are not 1, which means they have scope for improvement. Right? Either they have to reduce their input or increase their output. But this particular third business unit is having already an efficiency of 1, because it is doing good work with respect to its inputs and outputs. It is managing its resources well. It is maximizing it has already maximized its efficiency. It is doing very well. When the efficiency is 1, it means it is efficient.
But why I choose E2 also?
E2.
2 and 3.
No, answer is only 3.
Oh, I choose the wrong option.
The answer is only 3.
Okay. Sorry,
No
sir.
problem.
Okay,
No
I
problem.
choose the wrong option. Yeah, sorry.
No problem. So let me cover this hypothetical composite unit. Right? So let's take this example of 2 inputs and 1 output. So let's have the output as a fixed one, which means both the DMUs have common outputs and so on. So input 1, input 2, right? So when it is input, which is the efficiency envelope? I mean, the efficiency frontier, this one.
Correct.
Right. Right. So sorry, my drawing is very bad today. All right. So now, if you want to compute the hypothetical composite unit for, let's also name it 1, 2, 3. Just hold on and take a rubber. Let me redraw this 1 second. Not come up well. This is 1, 2, 4, 3, 5. So here 1, 2, and 4 they are lying on the efficiency frontier, which means they are already efficient. So now this 3, how do you make 3 efficient? How do you make 5 efficient?
So we draw intersection between them from 0, right? So wherever it intersects, we have to pull down the values to that level actually.
Yes, yes. So here you draw a line from the origin. Generally, this is the origin. So you do this. What is going to happen? Why is it called hypothetical composite unit? Because you say that if 3 lies here, it is going to be efficient. It is actually not lying here, but you recommend that 3 should lie somewhere here so that it becomes efficient. So you're hypothetically stating that 3 should lie here. That is this hypothetical. And unit, it's already a business unit. That's why it's called unit. Why is this composite? Why is it called composite? Any idea why is it called composite?
It is the composition of 1 and 2, that's why.
Yes, yes. So you're not saying just reduce input 1. You are saying that it has to reduce input 1 to a certain extent. Similarly, it has to reduce input 2 to a certain extent. These 1 and 2, they act as reference points, right? So you're bringing them here. It's a combination of 1 and 2 that 3 should reduce. I mean, it has to reduce input 2, it has to reduce input 1, and it has to get somewhere in the efficiency frontier. That is why it is called hypothetical composite unit. And as the gentleman rightly pointed out, you compute this by drawing a straight line connecting the inefficient DMUs.
So, sir, here we assuming that cost of input 1 and input 2 are same.
No. Output is the same. Input 1 and input 2 are different.
Sorry, sir, maybe I am not getting it. So, one is the input 1 and the one is the input 2. So, for a particular point, say, let us say that this is the elbow point is 5.3. We just assume. Okay, so I am consuming 5 unit of LP2 and 3 unit of LP1. Okay, got it, sir. Got it. So, sir, how you draw this curve? Means, what is the basis of drawing this curve? That this is the
this particular dotted line.
No. That solid line. How you draw it?
Oh.
Why you draw this? Why you not complete this curve in that 1 and 2 points? Not you still extend to 4. So that's what I'm saying, sir.
Okay. So you want to know how I drew that line? Okay.
Yes,
so
sir.
Let me draw it properly here. So I mean to say we are computing the efficiencies. How do you compute efficiency? You do a linear programming problem and compute efficiency of business unit 1, business unit 2, right? You know the amount of resources. For example, 1 second, hold on. Here it is not given. Let me go there to the whiteboard. So if you have 4 or 5 business units, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. For each, you know what is the input 1, input 2. So for example, the DMU 1 might have input 1 as 10,000 and input 2 as 12. Similarly, this might be 11,500 and this could be 9 and so on. So you have this data with you. When you have this data, you do the markings here. And that's how I just hypothetically created this particular graph.
And actually this graph will come by using the linear programming?
You have this input and output, no? So 10,012. So input 1 could be this 10,000, 11,500, 12,000 and so on. Input 2 could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and so on.
Okay.
So this is just an example for this. I created this graph.
Okay.
So that's it. The major thing with respect to DEA, I know that it's not so easy to understand the primal, dual, shadow pricing and so on. But don't get overwhelmed by that. It's for your understanding. From the exam point of view, understand what is the intuition behind DEA. Why are we doing DEA? So when we have different business units, how do we compare them? How do you compute the efficiency? How do you use linear programming for doing this? That's all.
Okay, sir. Just out of curiosity, I'm asking one question. So, in my company, we are facing a issue that optimization issues. Okay, but not in economics, but in different domain. Okay.
Okay.
So, can we solve these things using these formulas?
Yes, definitely. In fact, my company, we are doing a lot of work with regard to DEA. So even Professor in IIT, I'm telling you, let's say there are two batsmen. Let me use the screen whiteboard and show you what work is going on here. You can relate it to your work. Let's take cricket batting as an example. Today I don't see ladies joining. I see a lot of gentlemen. So let's take two players, Sachin and Virat. Right. So what are the metrics that you can think of? Right. Number one is number of runs. Right. What are the other metrics? Number of hundreds, 50s. So let's take ODI cricket, 50 overs cricket. Right. What are the other metrics? Number of 50s, average, strike rate.
Yes, sir.
What else? Number of matches. Number of balls faced. Right. So here, what are the inputs?
These are the inputs, sir.
Which one? Tell me the inputs.
Runs, hundreds, 50s, average strike rate, matches, ball.
Then what is the output?
So you will calculate a number that will tell me that who is better.
So for that you need to calculate the efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
What are the inputs and what are the outputs here? So if you ask me, I will say number of matches and number of balls faced. These are the inputs. So number of runs, 50s, hundreds, average, strike rate, all these are outputs.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Right. So the number of matches played by Sachin would be very different. It will be a lot more because he started playing at 16 years. Right? So the number of matches he played is very high. The number of balls Sachin had faced is again going to be high. Right? Number of hundreds are going to be high. Right? Number of 50s are going to be high. Average, strike rate, and so on. So you compare. First, what you do, you solve the LP for Sachin, right? And by solving LP, what are you going to get? You're going to get the weights. On one hand, you're going to get the weights for input. On the other hand, you're going to get the weights for outputs, right? With this metric, for whatever you got for Sachin, you're going to compare Virat. Right? For the metrics that Sachin is trying to maximize his efficiency, you are computing those weights, and with that weight, you are comparing Virat. And if Virat is also getting an efficiency of 1 for the metrics of Sachin, then you say, well, Virat is efficient as far as when compared to Sachin, right? Because you are comparing Virat on Sachin's metrics. And similarly, you compute a separate LP for Virat, you compute the output weights, input weights. Based on this metric, you compare Sachin. And the output that we got at IIT is Sachin got an efficiency of 1, Virat also got an efficiency of 1. They
So
both are good.
you choose other factors also, sir.
Yes, you can play around with a lot of factors. Definitely. Similarly, the same concepts you can use for your office as well. So let's in this particular lecture, it's a professor discussed the sales and the number of leads for a given input. If you have different branches, let's say there is one in Chennai, one in Bangalore, one in Pune, and so on. Is Chennai office doing better than Bangalore office? Is Bangalore office doing better than Pune office? So how do you compute that? You look at number of employees, number of amount of budget granted to each office. These are the input. Output could be the revenue generated, the market share, and all these things. Based on the number of the available inputs and outputs, you calculate efficiency, and you compare one business unit with all other business units. This can be done, easily done. You can download a lot of papers, research papers available on this particular area. It's a well-researched area. Even if you Google, you will get a lot of information about the.
But how these
And we can have multiple outputs. Sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
you
please
can
go
have
ahead.
multiple outputs and multiple inputs. I had somebody raising hand or something. Any questions?
DA ultimately would be solved like a proper normal LP, right? On Excel, we can solve it as we solve an LP.
Okay. Did you join recently? You just joined?
Yeah, I
You missed
joined
the-
a little late.
Okay. Okay. So
Sorry.
good news for you is don't worry about the LP formulation and so on. I know it is very overwhelming. So if you get a chance, try to watch this recorded video again, where we have covered how do you understand DEA. Just the intuition of DEA is enough, and few numericals. So these are very important. But definitely, I encourage you to read more about DEA, and you can have active conversations in the discourse forum. You can tag us. for
Actually,
certain-
I was more interested from a learning perspective rather than from an exam perspective.
Great. I really encourage you. Please keep posting good articles about DA. If you come across certain good articles, the reason is in last 2 terms, we started giving a lot of additional reads. For example, in linear programming formulation, we gave a lot of additional reads, and nobody responded for those things. So therefore, we stopped doing all those things. If required, we can also share more contents for each
Well,
and every week.
actually, what happens is, I think this is for most of the courses. They are well structured and they are rather demanding. So we get so tied up in meeting deadlines that that extra learning zest is just, or zeal is never really fulfilled.
Got it. Even I have come through all those times. I recently completed my PhD. So
Yeah, so
therefore,
you can
I know how.
understand. Yeah, you can understand that.
Definitely.
Then we are so much limited by the whole scope of our work rather than exploring further.
Got it. Completely agree with you. But you don't have to read everything right now. Take a break, and whenever you get time, you can. These are good concepts. For example, if you are doing a bachelor project, you are doing a bachelor thesis, or you want to publish some papers, DA is a good area to start with. Collect good data.
Yeah,
It could be-
I'm interested from publishing a research paper. So I saw a lot of DA, a lot of papers using DA, but then I wasn't very familiar with the whole concept of DA. That's why I was wondering that the formulation of DA after watching the lecture videos somewhat is. It's not that tough. It doesn't look so daunting, but then how do we further solve it? I mean, we just formulate an LP problem out of it and then solve it like we do it even on Excel.
Yes, Excel. You can do this comfortably on Excel, but there are also advanced solvers. You can even do this on Python. There are packages available for solving LP, but it is not very straightforward. You need to understand the DA concepts well, and there is also a lot of coding involved. So we have structured this course in such a way that the emphasis will be more on the business part and less on the coding part. So therefore, we did not cover the coding part of LPs and We did not touch we did not touch Python for LP coding.
But then, if it is possible, please, would it be possible to share some resources that would be involving the coding part?
Sure, I can give you right away. You can try searching about Pulp solver, PULP. It's a free open source solver. Pulp,
Okay.
CBC
Could you
solver.
just share the links and the names?
I'll give it on the
Really
chat.
nice. Yeah, please.
Pulp is a package, and then you can use CBC solver. These are free ones, so there are also paid ones. I would recommend you to start with Pulp and CBC solver. Then eventually you can move to more sophisticated solvers like Ruby.
Are these
CPS,
softwares or libraries that can be used in Python?
libraries, you can use it in Python.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
All right. Any more questions?
So, sir, when we will go for the conjoint analysis, I actually
Next
want.
week, Tuesday.
So Monday, okay, ठीक है. Sir, is there will be any revision session, sir? Because we learn a lot of. Okay.
No, sir. The thing is, you have access to previous year question papers.
Okay.
And any doubt you can tag on.
Yeah,
Discord
that is very prompt.
And we also have Saturday live sessions that is led by DES, Kalpita. So she is doing a great job by doing that live session. Most of the questions are getting answered there. And she is also very prompt in responding to discourse queries.
Okay, sure, sir.
All right, if there are no more questions, we'll meet on Tuesday and we'll discuss conjoint analysis. Yes, sir.
Sir, while finding the HCU, why do we join the origin, sir?
Okay, so what are the other ways to join the efficiency frontier? You can go horizontally, you can go vertically. Is that correct? Okay, let me share and show you. So the gentleman is asking, why are we joining from the origin? Right, that is the question, right? Why are we joining from the origin? So here, yes, your 3 lies here. So one way to do that is join horizontally, right? The other way to do is join vertically to the efficiency frontier. If you do this, you're only reducing one particular resource, but we have 2 resources, IP1, IP2, right? So in order to get here, you can do that. You can go horizontally and reach here and so on. But the better way is to come down on both aspects, input 1 and input 2, and reach here, where you are reducing little bit of IP1 and little bit of IP2. How else you can join? And this particular thing, if you compute your dual prices, you will see that you are landing up here. You can cross-check it with, go to the spreadsheet folder. So if you go here, I would strongly recommend you to do this. Just go here. You have all the materials available here, supplementary contents, spreadsheets, and so on. So download everything and run the sensitivity analysis on Excel. Download all the data sets. Then you will get a better understanding.
So, sir, one thing I am asking, offbeat topics I am asking since this session is almost end. If our company wants to do an hackathon kind of things with this skill set, we will give a problem and we will give a stimulated time, and the best solution will get the award. So can we get an audience like you, students like or a researcher like you as an audience, and we shall give the problem?
So I cannot discuss anything here, but contact me offline. Okay? Just contact me offline. We can have a talk about it.
Okay, sir. Okay.
You know how to find me. Just
No, sir, that I am very poor. Many people ask. So how to find you, sir?
Amitabh Bhattacharya. I'll find you.
Okay. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, just this may be a simple question. Sir,
No
why
problem.
we do sensitivity analysis? Sir?
Good question. So there is an entire video that talks about it. In fact, it is one of the best lecture that has gained a lot of views, has been appreciated by many people. Let me open that and show you. Where is that? Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Week 7, week 6. There is a tutorial by Srivatsa, my very good friend, who is now a professor at IIT Jodhpur. Where is it? Where is it? Building, linear regression, optimizing price. Yes. Operations research, linear programming, duality in spreadsheets, Python. Right? This is that lecture.
Yes, sir.
Just go through this.
Yes,
I
sir.
recommend everybody to go through this. Right? You will get a very good understanding of it.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
All right. It's not logging in, unfortunately.
5.7. Yeah.
Just go through that, and next time you won't ask me. You will start teaching people.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
So have a good day. Good night. Let's catch up on Tuesday for conjoint analysis.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.